Hey everybody, I usually don't really do this type of video format, but I wanted to share a bunch of different things, and I thought that a video would inform everybody the best about what's going on with me and my life. My main point is that I am kind of done with Touhou survival gameplay, and I'm either taking a break from or just outright quitting Touhou. There are a few reasons as to why I am quitting Touhou now, and none of them are really community related or drama related or anything like that. It's all personal things, really. First off, my Touhou streams are sort of inextricably linked with my college life and the place that I live at right now. This was the first place where I started living on my own, and I had really good internet here, and it gave me all the opportunity really to just stream a lot. Plus, I had some trouble socializing at the start, college-wise, but you know, within the Touhou community this all went a lot easier. So I really felt at home there as soon as I sort of started making videos and I started streaming and showing myself all the time. Later on, when COVID also hit, this was a community that I could fall back to because it was all online and, you know, all my friends were in my pewter. So, you know, perfect for a global pandemic in which you cannot get close to any person. But things are pretty different at this point. I'm just a very different person than the person I was in 2016 and 2017 when I started doing all of this, and social distancing is not really a thing anymore either, so a lot of the reasons as to why I was playing these games so intensively and the reasons why I participated a lot in the gameplay community are just not as relevant to my current life anymore. I will have to move out of my current house as well in a few months, and I don't expect my next housing conditions to be as optimal for streaming as my current housing conditions. But I will try and make streams still happen. But it is an important reason as to why I made a lot of Touhou content in that period, and a big reason as to why I streamed a lot of Touhou as well. But all of that doesn't have to do much with why I'm not really playing Touhou as much anymore. Within Touhou, I just kind of feel that I've done everything that I really cared about. When I started streaming in 2016, I did a lot of Lunatic No Bomb runs, and quickly from that point I started doing Lunatic No Deaths No Bombs runs, and I started accumulating a lot of them pretty quickly. A lot of people were impressed, especially back in 2016, 2017, that a Western player was getting so many LNNs in a fairly short period of time. And I really enjoyed riding that wave of excitement, honestly. Especially about 5 years ago when I had both a Touhou 15 LNN and then a Touhou 16 LNN after that, right as that game came out too. Those were glorious times. And then I started playing EOSD, and I was going with I was talking with the EOSD English speaking super players, and we were sharing strategies, and that whole time just felt like the peak of the whole Touhou experience to me, or at least the Touhou survival experience. And after that I finished up getting LNNs in the other games because it just felt nice to complete all of that. But after Touhou 15 and Touhou 6, the other ones are just a bit easier, and they didn't provide as much of a challenge to me already. So I just focused more on the whole Twitch element of it, the whole streaming and chatting with people, and that was all really fun too. And after I got my Touhou 14 LNN on the 1st of July 2018, I kind of did it all for myself, really. I won Touhou. I kind of conquered every game that I cared about, survival-wise. And I could already sense that doing this again with every character or every shot type was just not something that was going to keep me interested for long enough. But I did still really wanted to do one of the really notorious survival runs. One of the LNNs that either nobody or virtually nobody had done yet. And that list was a lot larger before Salk came around and started actually doing the all character and all shot type grind. But people knew which ones were the most difficult, and it was like Touhou 8 Solo Alice, Touhou 14 Sakuya B, Touhou 15 with Marissa or Sanai, and then Touhou 16 with the weaker shots in that game. Nowadays, there's also Touhou 18 with Marissa, but back then, Touhou 18 didn't exist yet, so I'm mostly talking about 2018, 2019 right now. After I did a bit of double spoiler speedrunning, I also took a big break back then. But eventually, around the end of 2020, I really started dedicating myself again to a Touhou survival category, namely Touhou 14 Sakyabi. And honestly, that experience was great. First of all, the category was just really fun and really challenging. It was a category that, even with all my survival experience, really tested me, really challenged me to develop better strategies, to experiment with things that would get my consistency even higher. And second, I just started to get a really good dynamic with my Twitch chat. The categories that I play are categories that I would never do if I'm all on my own, just sitting in my room, really. I don't think I've played a Touhou survival attempt in 5 years without someone accompanying me in one way or another. The only exceptions being like small practice sessions and maybe demos that just came out. And especially in the past year or so, chat has been like a great company with me during these grinds, and they made it a lot more fun while I was getting through like the early game parts, before the really exciting patterns came up. Once I beat Touhou 14 with Sakyabi, no deaths, no bombs, it was just kind of over. I did everything then I truly did everything that I cared about survival wise. And sure, I played Touhou 18L and NN after that, and I did a fair amount of runs in Touhou 15 with Marissa as well, trying to get the same thing, but the grind itself is just not interesting enough to me anymore after this many years of playing Touhou this way. I just kind of know that I can get every LNN there is if I just bash my head against it long enough. And at that point, I feel that all there is left for me in LNNs is just the notorious slot machine element that a lot of other good Touhou players hate about it. Because you know you can do everything, but you're just dumping a shit ton of time in it, doing the same patterns, waiting for it to pay out eventually. And I've just done that too often at this point. So the category that is the most fun to me in Touhou just isn't that fun to me anymore. So yeah, finally I just have a really big backlog of other video games that I never gave a honest shot because I'm a little bit of a tryhard with Touhou in my free time. And I think right now would be a good opportunity to give those a honest chance as well. I'm talking Ultra Kill, for example, or Half-Life or Dark Souls, or just some of those games that I've just been wanting to play for years now but never got to them. So does this mean that I'm really never coming back to Touhou, or that I will never do another cool category in the Touhou games? I'll very likely come back. A thing that still interests me a lot in Touhou is Touhou World Cup, and I would love to see that proliferate as well, and I would still like to participate in that in some of the survival categories, probably. I will probably take up a big organizational role again, if I'm being completely honest. I'm already kind of excited for what Touhou World Cup 2023 will be like. But if I really want to challenge myself in Touhou again, it will probably have to be with a scoring category or with speedrunning the spin-off games, because survival is just not really doing that for me anymore. Finally, I'm still gonna play new games and likely go for cool survival runs in mainline games. I'm just not likely to expend as much effort into them anymore. Like with Touhou 18, I'll just mess around with them until I win eventually and just enjoy the chat while I'm doing it. And finally, the final boss rush streams will live on as long as I'm able to schedule them in my life. In general, I'm happy to have been active in the gameplay community, and I've felt comfortable in it over the years. I've made a lot of friends through Touhou, and I will likely check up on the sub-communities and such very frequently still. I also still like talking about the games. I have a lot of subtle survival knowledge that's just kind of floating around in my mind, but I am in this limbo where I'm both not interested enough to turn all that knowledge into full videos, but also feel like just documenting it in text is not really doing it either. Most of the time I'm very eager to answer gameplay questions that people have though, so if there's anything you want to know from me, feel free to ask me on Discord. And if you're like a video producer and you're doing something gameplay related to Touhou, I'm also still free to collab. I'm still motivated to help out with things like that, and I think I can be pretty helpful with that topic. Like I said before, I'm probably still going to be streaming, but there will more often be different games. Perhaps you can expect playthroughs of games that I've never played, like Ultra Kill, or just games that I have been loving for a long time now, like TF2, Risk of Rain 2, Terraria, Celeste, maybe even Minecraft. I'm actually not that much of a shmup person, but I do love bullet hell still, and some of the shmups like Escaluda, Ketsui, and Dodonpachi are very interesting to me. Mushi as well. You can expect those, perhaps in the future. Absolutely no promises though. I don't really know what will happen to the YouTube channel for now. Maybe I will be dormant for a bit as I figure out what to do with a channel that almost entirely exists because of my Touhou LNNs and my survival gameplay. But you can at least expect VODs from the streams for whatever I happen to be playing in the future with the style that I started using this year for my Touhou 18 and Touhou 15 gameplay. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share in this video. I'm sorry if it's a little bit rambly, but I just wanted to get this video out and not sit too long on it. So yeah, I wish everybody watching a nice day, and I hope that you'll still be around in the future when I might have changed my channel around a little bit. So yeah, see you next time.